Hi, I'm Claudine Ewing. Thank you for joining us on WGRZ+. I had a chance to sit down with Garnell Whitfield. Many of you know him as a result of 514 or when he worked for the city of Buffalo. He has now decided that he wants to run for mayor. So I had a conversation with him, a long conversation with him at home. You want to be mayor of the city of Buffalo?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
It's not because I need a job. It's not because I'm looking for a job. But what I am looking to do is to have impact and to help bring about the changes that are needed in our community. And I think we need leadership. And I'm ready to provide that leadership.
What's wrong with Buffalo?
What's right with Buffalo?
Yeah, tell me. What's right and what's wrong?
I think we have resilient people. I think we have people here who want to see, changes. They want to have their voices heard. They want to be able to live aspirationally. They want to have opportunities. And they want to see, I believe, their neighbors and their friends and their children and their families prosper. And I think that's what's good about Buffalo. And I think that those are the things that we'll focus on. There's a lot of things that are bad, obviously. I mean, we got over 7,000 vacant lots in the city. We need houses. We need, living wage jobs. We need a better educational system. We need a lot. But I think the people, if we focus on the people, then we can address all of those things.
You talked about some city issues, housing. Housing for some people is deplorable. There are a lot of vacant lots. There are a lot of dilapidated homes. There are a lot of people couch surfing because they cannot afford to even rent a one-bedroom apartment in the city of Buffalo. That has definitely changed over the years. Yes. How do you address that, the housing crisis?
Yeah, it is a crisis. It's a crisis. We have, first of all, the codes that are currently in place, the laws and the codes governing our housing stock, governing our landlords and those things have not been enforced. And so the housing stock has suffered. It is in disrepair. And it is, we have lost many homes to fires and other things like that. But I think strong enforcement of the current laws would certainly help to preserve the housing stock that's available. Now that we have these lots, these empty lots, prairie land all around the city, we have to come up with ways to build affordable housing. And we have to do that, development without displacement, so that the people from those communities that have lived there through generations and have suffered through this malady are able to live in these new homes when they're built. And so, yeah. And
then there's lead, right?
Absolutely.
That's a crisis too.
Sure. And so now we're talking about public safety, because that's a public safety issue,
yeah.
Right? When we talk about lights and sirens and police and fire and all those things, those are public safety issues. But so is lead abatement. So is street lighting. All of those things that provide safe, secure communities and homes and residences for people to live in. So absolutely, lead abatement is a huge issue. Children are overly exposed to lead, and it lasts a lifetime. And that's not something you can do something about later on. So we have to do something about that immediately. There's some money that's coming out of Washington, federal government, out of the state, that's going to be made available to help with that issue. We need to aggressively, pursue a remedy for those lead pipes that are still in our city.
Let's talk about the city's budget. It's been said that the city is in dire fiscal straits, more than some people would imagine. Could it be 15 to 30? Some people have put it at $42 million for this deficit. Does it surprise you? And if you were to be mayor, how would you address the deficit?
Well, I mean, first of all, by being honest about it, okay? I mean, we can't pretend like that it doesn't exist. We can't, diminish it by calling it something other than what it is. And so I think that it's just basically a lack of oversight, fiscal, oversight by all parties. And we have many people running for mayor in the city of Buffalo who were here and are a part of that problem and a part of that legacy. And so you don't get to now claim that this is a new problem all of a sudden now and you're going to do something about it. People have been in position for a long time to do something about it. Nothing's been done. And so that's just the truth of the matter. And we're going to, and I've heard about the funds being used now to fill that hole. We've been doing that forever. That's the same thing we've been doing. Now, those funds that we're talking about were allocated for specific things. When we applied for those funds, we said we were going to do this.
The American Rescue.
Absolutely,
yes.
American Rescue Funds and other funds too. Mm-hmm. This is not new. This is what we've been doing. There's a caveat that says, in the event of a crisis or whatever, we can, redistribute those funds to address those issues as they come up. But self-created crises should not be things that you can use those funds for. And so now we have all of these institutions, organizations that may have, benefited from those funds. Now they're not going to get them.
Do you think the city relies too much on one-shot revenue?
Absolutely. And these problems are historical issues. These are generational issues. And these one-shot fixes are not going to alleviate these problems. When the schools have got money coming in, hired teachers and all those things. Now we got to lay them back off again. We have to do something different. If we expect a different result, we have to do something different. So we have to spend that money in ways that is sustainable over time, beyond the allocation, beyond the grants, or beyond that, that money. So we have to invest that money so that it grows. And in ways that will be sustainable over time. We continue to be bailed out. Yeah. At some point, we have to make hard decisions, and we have to do those things which are going to help alleviate these crises going forward.
Yeah. I was talking about making sure that the right people are in the right positions. I mean, recently we saw what was happening with the sewer authority. Accountability, we're at a time now where the city needs to watch every dime that it's spending. And then when you see numerous trips being taken by so many people, it kind of just raises question marks, even for the average Joe who doesn't even pay attention to politics. And they say, what is going on? Why is this allowed to happen? Would you be that leader who would crack down on things like that?
Well, I mean, I've had one of those positions.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to take trips like that. I didn't get to do that. My work was here. Don't get me wrong. We need to do a better job at looking outside of ourselves to address solutions. But there's all kinds of ways to do that without doing it, spending the taxpayers' money. So we have to make sure that whatever we do it in a fiscally responsible way. I would certainly want anybody on my team to look outside of ourselves for solutions, creative solutions and things where people have addressed these issues across the country, if not the world. But there's ways to do that without it breaking the bank. There's ways to do that. I mean, we have Zoom, we have technology, all kinds of technology. We can broker meetings and establish relationships and rapport with people all over the world. And so I would certainly promote that and be very, very conservative in terms of physically sending them, especially in times like these.
Let's talk about when you were the fire commissioner, you had a budget that you had to deal with, work with, control overtime, make sure the overtime was not breaking the bank for the city of Buffalo. How do you believe that experience overseeing a huge department, because it's one of the largest departments for the city, prepares you to be mayor?
I think being mayor requires you to be a manager, which is what I was as commissioner. I think that's not a legislative position, that's a managerial position. And so you're entrusted with taxpayer dollars with a budget. You have to manage that, and you have to manage the workforce. You have to manage the projects. You have to manage all of those things. I think that being the fire commissioner will help me, gave me invaluable experience in those areas. Not only that, life is fraught with crises and unforeseen scenarios. I'm the only candidate that has addressed those kinds of issues throughout my career. Responding to crises, making decisions, tough decisions on the spur of the moment, mitigating issues, finding ways to creatively do that, doing it safe and efficiently. That's what I've done throughout my career. That's what I'll do as mayor.
Buffalo is poor.
Yeah.
It's got a black eye in the eyes of some around the country. It's a poor city. It is a city with some other issues, but it's poor. What needs to happen?
Well, when you say Buffalo is poor, if you go back in time to the Pan-American Exposition, Buffalo was forecast as the place to be. Mm-hmm. It had everything going for it. The truth of the matter is Buffalo and this region has many assets that have not been used. We've made mistakes, whether we're talking about the stadium, the 33, whatever you want to talk about. All of those things have hurt our community. And we have to get to the point where we do things that are going to, again, help our community to thrive. When we take those kinds of assets out of the city, when we start stripping the city of assets and we do things, we kill neighborhoods, kill Main Street, when we do those kinds of things, how could you possibly expect our city to grow and to thrive? It's not some place anyone would want to be. And so we have to create opportunities for people. We have to create communities where people want to live. We have to have an educational system where people are confident and can send their kids to school. We have to have city services and safe communities. And that's what we want to do, going forward. I think this is not rocket science. People want safe, secure communities to live in.
The 33 may be a state project, but it is a state project right in the heart of the city of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Should it be capped? Should there be a tunnel? What should happen, or just? I
think what should happen is, first of all, we have to acknowledge that there was some intentionality about what was done with the 33 when it was done, as in every community across this country. There's a pattern here, and so let's acknowledge that first of all.
And do you feel that that's already been acknowledged? Do you think by now people understand that?
I don't know if they understand that or they just see an opportunity. I don't really know. Mm-hmm. I don't know what their motivation is, but all I'm saying is that has to be acknowledged. If we're going to repair, and restore not only Humboldt Parkway, but the people who have been hurt by that, then we have to acknowledge that they've been hurt in the first place, right? And so without an appropriate environmental study, without all of the kinds of data that would allow you to make an educated and informed decision about what to do with the 33, nothing should be done until those things are done. What
would be your preference though?
My preference would be to do what is best for the people who live there. That would be my preference.
Okay.
And I think the people are very clear about what they want. And so,
they are.
Again, without the data, the people are concerned because the work has not been done to sufficiently determine whether, in fact, a tunnel will mitigate the health risks and the damages that have been done to them and their loved ones generationally. Mm-hmm. And so until that's addressed, you have not acknowledged the damage that you've done. You're just glossing over it now, saying we're going to cover it now. But what will the impact of a tunnel be? And what is the purpose of the tunnel? Let's talk about that.
Downtown, one of the criticisms we've heard of the Brown administration over the years is that he did a lot to help downtown build up the waterfront canal side, which is true, and it is there, it is thriving, but yet neighborhoods suffered. Would you be that mayor who would focus in on the neighborhoods, because now we do have a downtown, we have a waterfront, it's doing what it needs to do, minus a stadium, but it's doing what it needs to do. Is it time now to focus on the neighborhoods?
It's long overdue. It's long overdue. People have suffered for generations.
And you've seen it, right? As a fire commissioner, you
Not
saw
just the
these
finance.
neighborhoods.
I lived on the east side. I grew up on the east side. So I've seen it, literally. I've lived it. My parents were poor. My parents were poor. We lived in the projects until we were able, my father got a job at Ford and was able to buy a home. And our lives were changed then, but we still lived on the east side. That home is still on the east side to this day. That's where we grew up at. And so, I've lived among the people. I've seen the struggles. My father made $50 a week with 4 kids when we were younger, and we struggled, and I'm thankful that I had parents who were able to take care of us. Not everybody has been so fortunate. The truth of the matter is our community has been disenfranchised, under-resourced intentionally for a very, very long time. And so I make no apologies about making that a focus. Where people are downtrodden and where people need help, it's the job of government, it's the job of all of us. We are our brother's keeper. And so if that community is downtrodden and poor and depressed, then all of us fall short. When that community comes up, we all come up. And so this is about us being empathetic. This is about us, again, acknowledging the truths about how we got here, why we got here, and deciding to do something about it. That's all.
Do you believe that the stadium should have been downtown?
Absolutely. I just got back from Nashville. Everywhere you go in the country, the stadium is downtown and the cities are booming. I mean, just think if that stadium was still on Jefferson and Best, what that community would look like today. Just think about that. When you took that stadium out of that community, you killed it. And you did it intentionally. And then you put the 33. All of those things killed that community. That was a thriving community. It was not always like this. There have been some intentional things that have been done specifically to deprive people, to disenfranchise people, to render them poor. And that has to be acknowledged. That's just the truth. I mean, it's not something that we're making up. These things have happened. Mm-hmm. And now to rebuild the stadium again out there in Orchard Park, I mean, God bless them. But look at that community. So I think we owe a debt. We owe that community. We owe those people a lot.
And you feel that you can lead them? Absolutely.
It starts with being honest.
Yeah. You have shown that you believe in Buffalo. Obviously, if people didn't know you as a fire commissioner before, they definitely knew you after May 14th because of the tragedy that happened right down the street from where the Bills used to play on Jefferson Avenue. But because of the fire and passion that you showed about gun violence, about white supremacy, calling things out for what they are. Not what they were, but what they are presently. Is that the same passion that you would bring into City Hall? And is that event something that spurred you to want to run for mayor to do more?
I've been a public servant for almost 40 years now. That's all I know. And that's all I want to be. Absolutely, 514 changed my life and many others. Before 514, I'm retired. I had a nice career. God's been good to me. Enjoying my retirement with my family. And then all of a sudden, my mother's murdered. Absolutely. That's the impetus for me getting back involved in politics and these other things. And it has led me to this moment. I've been around the country, I've traveled, I've seen other communities, I've seen how they've responded to the tragedies in those communities. I know the people who unfortunately went through some of the similar things that I've gone through all around the country. I've seen how those cities have fared, how they responded, and I got to tell you, Buffalo is much different. I believe this community deserves better.
You have gotten the ear of the vice president. I don't know if you've reached out to her since you've decided that you want to run for mayor, or is she somebody that you will reach out to as you are campaigning?
Absolutely. I've been blessed to establish relationships with people in Washington, D.C. and around the country. I believe that's one of the things that also separates me from the other candidates, quite frankly. And I intend to bring those relationships to bear on behalf of this community. Absolutely.
Because Buffalo it's urban, right? And so you worked with Homeland Security in emergency services doing that. Snowstorms happen. People complain the streets aren't plowed. That's about to happen around now. This is the time period. How do you manage that, handle that to make sure that everybody is being served?
I mean, we had 7 feet of snow back in 2014 in South Buffalo. Storm of the century, whatever you want to call it. I don't think anybody died. Okay? And were we overwhelmed locally, our resources? Yes.
In 2014, you were serving as a fire.
I was a commissioner.
Yeah.
That was my, yes. The Bethlehem Steel fire burned for a week. Nobody was hurt. And I think that's just about managing those circumstances. When you are overwhelmed, you call for help. We had the New York City bring resources and assets in and work with us shoulder to shoulder. We brought in everybody we needed to bring in. And these relationships were pre-established. I mean, to say that there was no plan for the snowstorm where we lost over 40 souls is outrageous.
On your watch.
There's a plan, and if there's not a plan, then you make a plan and you follow it, There has to be a plan. And so, you don't wait till it snows to have a plan. You plan your work and you work your plan. You plan ahead. And so this is just about giving us our due diligence. And, you mentioned about having the right people in the right places and all of those kinds of things. I'm going to bring that same experience to every aspect of my mayoralship. I believe that's what separates me from the other candidates, quite frankly.
Let's talk about the other candidates. One is now serving as an acting mayor, Chris Scanlon, South District Councilman, Council President. Now there's nobody filling that seat. And he's filling the spot of mayor of the city of Buffalo. What separates you from him?
He's filling that spot. That spot wasn't given to me. It was given to him. That's what separates us. That's the only thing that separates us right now. He's got until June, primary, or to the general election to act as mayor. And then there'll be a new mayor.
Sean Ryan has announced that he is officially running. He, even though a state senator, has been really, really harping on neighborhoods, making sure there's state funding and going to certain parts, especially in the city of Buffalo. What separates you from him?
He works for the state, and I'll be working for the city. He's a state employee, works for the state, was elected by the people. I look forward to working with him.
What else should voters know about Garnell Whitfield that they don't know now?
I believe I'm doing this for the right reason. I'm not looking for a job. I'm not looking for a career. I believe I'm doing it on behalf of the people. This was not my idea. I've been asked to do this by many people down through the years. I really, never saw myself as a politician, and I still don't. I'm a public servant. I think that's what the people want. That's what the people need.
The mayor would have to work closely or have to work with the Common Council to get legislation passed through. What's your relationship currently with members of the council?
Cordial. I've worked with them. I mean, some of them were there. There's been some changeover, but some of them were there when I worked. I have a history of working with people, period, on behalf of my constituents, on behalf of the people that I serve. My job is to work with people. I'm going to do that. I'm going to fight when I have to fight. but I'm going to try to build bridges and coalitions and work with people on behalf of the. I think there's some things we can agree about. We can agree on. I think people want safe, secure neighborhoods. They want their children to be educated. They want opportunities. They want to be heard. These are very basic things that I think we can get some consensus on, and do what's best for the people.
And I think one of the things that the people want, they don't want favoritism or City Hall to be a dumping ground for, people will say, political hacks or just politicians. Are you looking to bring in new blood with new, fresh ideas to move forward? I'm
looking to do whatever we need to do, if that means new blood or keeping people in place who have experience in their work. We have great people working in the city. The employees they just need leadership. They need to be supported, and there needs to be a clear agenda that is, basically comes from the people, and then we help facilitate, that work or whatever as employees of the people. That's all we are. We're public servants. Our job is not to make things up and to do what we think is best. It's to do what's best for you when you share what it is your priorities are, what it is your needs are, what it is your dreams and aspirations are. Then it's our job to make those things, bring those things to fruition.
What I'm getting from you is that you want a transparent government.
Oh, absolutely.
People use the word transparency, though.
No.
They throw it around,
Yeah.
but then when it's time to talk about
right.
it's like,
so for
what are
me,
we
transparent is not only do we consult you and survey you and ask your opinion, but when we make the decision, you're in the room. You know what I'm saying? You're at the table. You have a say in what happens in your community. And that's transparency. I think leadership is not about securing power and influence. It's about giving it away. It's about empowering others.
Yeah.
And so what we want to do is empower people. We want to help them grow. And you teach. You got somebody that's hungry. You give them a meal they eat once, right? You teach them how to grow their own food, how to secure their own food. They'll eat from now on. That's what we want to do.
Yeah. We know that shelf life can be brutal. If you are elected mayor of the city of Buffalo, would you want to serve one term?
I want to serve until we get this done. I want to get this done. Whatever that means. If it's one term or if it's one day, whatever it is, it's not about me. It's about getting these things done. It's about making the necessary changes within our government, within our communities, that will allow our children and our residents to grow, grow beyond their current circumstances, and achieve as much as they are able to achieve. We want to help them do that.
You're up for the challenge.
I'm here.
And describe the type of campaign you're going to be running. I know I met Kevin, who is your political strategist.
Yes,
who's going to be,
campaign
and I know
manager,
he's worked with de Blasio and
Yeah.
whatever that is, it is.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you're running this campaign.
There's no secret sauce. We're appealing to the people. And the people should have a say. The people should decide who they want to lead them. The people should decide that. And we're going to throw ourselves on the mercy of the court, the people, and ask them to support us and see where we end up at. I mean, this is not us. We're not making this up as we go. We believe that the people want to see change. We believe that the people are ready for change. We believe that the time is now. And I think that I'm excited about the support that we've gotten. I think we're going to get a lot more. I think this message resonates with people in this community. I don't pretend to have all the answers. I don't have to have all the answers. There's a lot of smart people. There's a lot of great things going on. You ask what was wrong with Buffalo, what's bad about Buffalo. There's a lot of people doing great work in Buffalo. They need to be supported. We need to be, stop being insecure and bring people in to the table and leverage these efforts one with the other and do what's best for all of us.
My final question topic, the big developers. There are a lot of concern that big developers, they get a easy pass. Mm-hmm. They get everything they want. how do you control that to make sure that, you know, we want you in the city, we want you to develop, we want your business, but you're not getting handouts?
Well, I mean, I would say this. When you say develop, when you use the word develop.
Or developers.
Or developers.
Mm-hmm.
What are we developing? What are we developing? Are the people in these communities going to be blessed by you developing? Are they going to also be developed? Their skill sets, their opportunities. That's all part of development. They're inexorably tied together. And so when we talk about developers coming in, there should be training of residents for jobs with those developers, so that when those developers leave and when that asset, whatever it is, has been developed, that the people in that community are blessed by that. So they have employment or they have skills that they can market going forward, so their lives begin to change now. That's development. Mm-hmm. So it's holistic. It's not just a one-off. You know, you're going to build a building, you're going to leave. And it's going to be built by people from out of that community. And we're going to see it happen, but we're never going to be a part of it. It's never going to be something that's going to impact our lives in a positive way. That's not development. And so when we talk about development, we have to talk about it differently than we have in the past. And those developers, whoever they are, if they're not invested in that community and in those people, then they probably shouldn't be there.
And crime has to be tackled.
Absolutely. Again, when you start educating people, when you start giving people opportunities, when you start redirecting them, when you start gaining their trust, and you know, doing these kinds of things, those things automatically are addressed. And we don't talk about how we associate crime with poverty, crime with a lack of opportunity, crime with this intentional disenfranchisement and segregation. We don't talk about crime in that way. We just say, you're a criminal. Somebody helped make this person a criminal. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there's a lot we can do to mitigate crime, to mitigate poverty, and to mitigate hopelessness. And that's where crime and these things come from, hopelessness. So we have to gain the trust of the people. We believe we have the trust of the people. Unlike the other candidates, we believe we have that. And where we don't have it, we're going to earn it. We're going to earn it by being transparent, by being honest, and by being committed over time.
Final comment to the people of Buffalo.
I'm excited about this opportunity. You know, and again, this is not about me. This is all about you. It's about us coming together, building a coalition, you know, that will change and transform the lives of people in this city. And that's on every side of town. We've talked about the east side, mm-hmm. but there's a west side, there's a north side, there's a south side. We're going to bring them all together because we're all one and we're better together. We're stronger together. I believe that. I've lived my life that way. I've treated people that way. And anybody that knows me knows that. And so I'm very confident in my record. I'm standing on it. I trust the people of Buffalo. I believe they trust me. And we're going to work to build Buffalo, a new Buffalo. It's a new day. People are excited.
Garnell, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you missed any of this interview, you can go back and watch it right here on WGRZ+. Thanks for watching.